As Transformers Rise of the Beasts came to a close, many die-hard Transformers fans knew this was only the start of the potential of a great story featuring the greatest villain in all of Transformers in Unicron. Of course, many of us knew that Unicron being in the movie could not simply be a one-off thing. He is just way too much of a big bad to be brought in quickly in the introduction movie, the first kind of team movie in this new continuity. There's no way they could tackle Unicron all in this movie, as well as the Terracons, the Maximals, and all that. And certainly, they definitely really didn't do a good job, but that is a video for another time. Today, what I want to talk about is what happened to Unicron at the end of Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Because, as we know, although he was defeated, he is not gone, and that is something that both Primal and Prime acknowledge. But without further ado, let's jump right into this and start theorizing what happened to Unicron and when he'll be coming back. So right off the rip, we have to establish a few things that we know about the character of Unicron, the Chaos Bringer of the Transformers continuity. Unicron is truly one of one, and I don't mean that lightly. He is an eternal being. For Marvel fans, kind of think about it like how, and I know some people may not like this, but think of how they're doing it in the MCU with Scarlet Witch, in that Elizabeth Olsen is the only Scarlet Witch in all of their continuities right now, even in the comics, the TV shows, the spin-offs, and in the live-action stuff. Scarlet Witch is Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen is Scarlet Witch. She is a constant in all universes, and that is kind of similar to how Unicron is. Now, of course, we have different depictions of Unicron, but the same thing still remains. Unicron is an eternal being, meaning even if he is defeated, destroyed, blown to smithereens in one universe, he will simply reform in another. He's kind of like Galactus in Marvel in a way, or even, I'm going to keep making these Marvel references, he's kind of like the symbiote hive mind, like how Unicron can literally be in multiple continuities at one time, but he is one eternal infinite being, which is why he is the Chaos Bringer, which is why he is the Endgame. There is no overcoming Unicron, there is simply delaying the inevitable, because at the end of the day, he will always come back. And that is the point of why I wanted to make this video, because a lot of people were disappointed about the fact that, oh, Unicron was defeated at the end of Rise of the Beast, that was a waste of a villain. And while there are plenty of things to complain about in Rise of the Beasts, I actually don't mind how they handled him in this. They set him up as a great threat. They carried over a lot of traits that we know of Unicron. Like, of course, he has this eternal hunger. He's trying to feast on these worlds, but he's also after the transwarp key, which is this advanced Cybertronian technology. Of course, we don't know all the intricacies that will happen with the time travel, but we do, like with the Maximals, we do get some kind of slight references with the whole fact that the Maximals know of Optimus Prime and stuff, even though they're seemingly from the same timeline, but they have knowledge as if they're from the future. So they kind of are, they didn't really get too deep into this whole time travel continuity stuff because it is complicated, and I don't really know how they're going to make it work. But what we do know is that this technology is something Unicron is after because he desires it to have the ability to pretty much become interdimensional at his own will. Not just when he's defeated and has to be reformed or reborn. He wants the transwarp key to be able to hopscotch between the galaxies, feeding as he wishes. And that would truly be GG's for everyone. But we do know that, of course, the Autobots come out victorious. Optimus kills Scourge. He kills the Herald of Unicron. So we know there will probably be another one. Who that will be, we can only guess. Maybe they'll do some kind of multiversal Galvatron thing, considering we have the Maximals. Maybe they will pull like a future Megatron, because I don't want to say Megatron, because we know that you have Optimus Primal and Optimus Prime, but Megatron is Megatron in both of the continuities. I wouldn't be surprised if when we do get this eventual sequel, if it's not in the second installment, because that may be more Earth-focused with the GIs involved with the Transformers Rise of the Beast sequel, if this then future sequel beyond this one ties into the more bringing Unicron back into it, having the Decepticons more established from the second movie, and then we have this major conflict in the third movie, that would make a lot more sense. But imagine if when Unicron rolls back up on Earth, he's not with Megatron, because Megatron will presumably already be in the picture with the Decepticons. He rolls up with Galvatron. And this is why all of my gripes with Rise of the Beasts aside, I see within the structure of it, and this has got to be a Joby Harold thing, because he did the same thing with the abomination that was Obi-Wan. He does these horribly written scripts and horribly written movies, but just under the surface, there is a blueprint for a masterpiece if it just didn't have Joby Harold involved. But that is, again, I won't go all in on that. But specifically with Rise of the Beast, there is so much potential for the future of these large-scale conflicts that are being set up, because obviously in the second movie, we expect there to be heavy conflict between the Autobots and Decepticons, because we literally have none of that at all in this new continuity. We had the Bumblebee movie, which I do like the Bumblebee movie, don't get me wrong, but that was a buddy cop movie. That was a buddy bot, Bumblebee solo thing, chilling with Charlie, and the Decepticons were awesome in that. I love seeing Shatter and Dropkick as very individual personalities, but again, this was not a large-scale combat war of the Transformers universe. We had mainly one Autobot against two Decepticons on Earth. And you'll say, oh, what about those Cybertron sequences? Those were added in so late, and I do love them too. They were added in so late, and you cannot use 2 minutes to defend an entire hour-and-a-half plus long movie. So my point is, we don't really have anything with Autobot and Decepticon conflict, because they really took away we took away what we were gonna get with Transit in Rise of the Beast. So they should have never deleted that scene, because that actually would have benefited the movie with what we had. But point being, the second movie will have to get Decepticon conflict. So imagine by this point, at the end of that movie, you still have the Autobots and Decepticons at each other's throats, but now Unicron rolls up and they have to almost unite against this greater threat. And imagine our Megatron, presumably, hopefully we will get, seeing a future version of himself, like this future Galvatron, as a herald, as the slave, a servant of this higher master. Imagine the disgust he would feel and the rage he would feel, and you could set up a really believable situation that goes right in line with kind of the G1 cartoonishness of these two super enemies actually uniting every once in a while to combine against a common foe. It really is a recipe in there for a great Transformers story. The question is, will they do it? But back specifically to Unicron, because of course we know he's coming back, but where is he now? As the Terracon's construction was disrupted by the Autobots and humans, and they removed the key and pretty much shut down the space bridge that was teleporting Unicron across the galaxy into the orbit of Earth, it collapsed in upon itself, pulling everything back in, and surely that had to do some damage to Unicron, but I don't think it killed him. The question is, where did it trap him? And we don't really have a definitive answer on this. I've really looked across all the movie tie-in material and all the written things, and it's really, there's contradictory answers. Some just say Unicron was lost to space and time. Some say he was trapped in a pocket dimension. Some say he was just trapped in a far quadrant in a different galaxy. I'm gonna say probably more so with that middle option. I think he's kind of trapped in kind of a pocket area, a limbo dimension, because I think that if he's just somewhere elsewhere in the universe, that's another possibility. But with the whole technology aspect of this, I think there's going to be more at play here, because tying back into what I mentioned earlier, we know there's going to be some time travel stuff. We don't know how far in that's going to play into this. Like, is it a question of, did the Maximals go back in time from where they were in the future, and now Unicron wants to chase them into the past? Because again, that's another possibly very interesting story, but we really didn't get anything to really give us the reason to latch on to these paths of logic. But again, so much potential here, and that's exactly why I wanted to make this video, because I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below about where you think they're going to go next with this Unicron story. Because again, if I had to guess down the line, I do see them, of course, bringing him back. Fingers crossed we get these movies, because I'm not even going to talk about the box office and all that, but we need these movies to be successful. And I'm thinking really far into the future, and just being realistic, we don't know if these movies are ever going to get made, but hoping that they stick with this continuity, hoping that these movies do come out. I see the second movie being more earthbound, with the conflict being focused with the humans, building their relationship with the GIs and kind of establishing that a little bit, as well as introducing the Decepticons into Earth as much more of a significant threat. That would bring us perfectly into a third movie where we have this conflict already going on Earth for some time, and then boom, you have Unicron come in, and that almost forces the Decepticons' hands. Now they're forced to either side with their enemies to fight against a common force, or leave this planet for good, and really they're screwed because they can't go elsewhere. They can't go back to Cybertron. Cybertron is screwed. And their only hope is the resources potentially of this planet Earth, and the resource that is Optimus Prime. And because we don't really know what is all going to be established with this, we don't know about the Allspark stuff with this universe. There's so much we still don't know. But one thing is clear, they want Optimus for a reason. They could have just not cared about him, but they're still sending people after him to find him. There's something about Optimus they want. So I think that there's definitely a reason, or they could definitely make a reason make sense, to have the Decepticons and Autobots have a brief type of, I don't even want to say a partnership or deal or a truce to fight Unicron, but you know what I mean. We've seen it many times before. They did it perfectly in Transformers Prime, and you could even use that, like they did in Transformers Prime, as a soft reset for certain characters or certain events, or a perfect page to open up new stories, like how they did in Transformers Prime to jog people's memories, or in case people haven't seen, when Megatron and Optimus unite to go into the core of Earth, which is Unicron. They did that just like the live action movie, but of course they executed it in an actual coherent and good way. But when they defeat or are able to keep Unicron dormant, it actually takes away the knowledge of the Primes from Optimus Prime, reverting him from to the mindset of Orion Pax. Again, so much potential for what we could do here with a live action version of this, but we will have to wait and see. This is super far down the road. We have to even get through this next movie, and that hasn't even really gotten off the ground yet, which is going to be the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover, but you can bet I will be covering that, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it as well. At the end of the day, there's a lot of pieces and breadcrumbs out there for them to go with. We have the whole space bridge. We have the knowledge that there are humans that are kind of privy to this advanced tech. You never know if they got humans that are going to swarm in there and monitor for the energy radiation and try to duplicate this technology and try to make other space bridges or stuff like that. There's so much you can do with this. You have the mention of Primus by Scourge, so we know that that is something established in this continuity. There is the yin and yang of Unicron and Primus. All of these little teases, little Easter eggs, little crumbs, like I said, are there. It's only a matter of time to see if they actually capitalize it. And they got a fantastic voice for Unicron, so it would be a waste if they do not capitalize on this. But again, just some more things. We know that in other continuities, Unicron has his essence transfer, like a mind transfer. He can reform his physical body. His head alone, even severed, can contain his consciousness. There's so much they can do with this. The possibilities are limitless. Other than that, that's all I have to say in this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Likes, dislikes, anything is appreciated. And until next time, peace.